What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I wanted to break down what's happening with Tesla spying the overall market. I'm also going to talk about some big news involving Tesla and something big for tomorrow, which will affect the broader markets. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link. If you deposit any amount of money, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 in total. And deposit $25,000 more, and you're guaranteed 75. The offer ends very soon, and it's in just about 4 weeks from now. Anyways, now let's talk about Tesla and the markets. So right now, Tesla's selling off quite a bit because of the fact that first off, the market is selling off too, and we also had this negative news that came out. Tesla's top data executive is leaving days before the robotaxi event. So who is this and what's going on? The answer is Tesla's employee known as the Chief Information Officer Nagesh Saldi. I may have not said the name right, but that's how I'll try to pronounce it. So apologies if I said it wrong. He's basically leaving the company before it's unveiled the robotaxi event. This is happening, and unfortunately, he shared about this. We don't know the exact reason why. It's due to what they say, maybe like private personal matters, which is totally understandable. So I just wish the best for Mr. Saldi. Wish the best for him moving forward. And if anything, I heard that this is going to be a big loss for Tesla. He's once again a very, very great employee, very great at his job. So it is what it is. We just have to once again move forward from this, and hopefully Tesla finds someone else that's just as great. And Soldi, we just wish the best for you moving forward. Anyways, there's also something else that's very important for the markets. So tomorrow is going to be Friday, October 4th, 2024, 1 hour before the market opens at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And by the way, guys, for those who don't know, Eastern Standard Time is the same time that the New York Stock Exchange uses. So New York is in the East Coast, and they use that time zone. So anytime I talk about times on this channel, I'm referring to the New York Stock Exchange time, or the time the market opens, and it's always Eastern Standard Time. So the market's going to open tomorrow. Before it opens, we have unemployment numbers coming out. The unemployment rates is going to be very important. So are the payrolls for governmental, manufacturing, and other pieces of data like that. So that's going to be very important. The unemployment rate is going to be key because there was a time it came out. This is like the second to last time it came out. What happened was we saw a big spike in unemployment, and this triggered the SAMS rule. So that led to a lot of recessionary fears, and the market tanked. I'm sure you guys remember that about a month and a half ago. However, this time around, if we see a spike in unemployment due to the high interest rates, this will affect the Fed's policies and it could lead to more recessionary fears again, and the market could sell off very sharply. If we get a decent unemployment rate and the data is decent for the jobs numbers, the market could try to bounce. So we'll see which way we end up going. I'm not really a fortune teller. I don't know what the data is going to tell us. So we don't know for sure. We have to be very, very patient with this. But my warning for everyone is the fact that if you're holding anything overnight, okay, if you're holding any positions overnight, there is risk involved in doing so. The market may gap up really hard tomorrow, or it may gap down as the data comes out before the market ends up opening. So if you want to close your positions just to be safe, it's up to you guys. But I just want to give you guys a warning about that. There's also a lot of news coming out about what's going on with the ports in the USA, as the ports are being closed because of the protests. This is very important. These strikes are causing a lot of chaos and a lot of concerns about costs. It's making things harder for shippers. With this going on, I really hope for negotiations as soon as possible. And with these strikes, it's having a big effect on supply chains, which could affect many different companies. So that's another big factor, not to mention the news involving Israel. So there's a lot of uncertainties right now about the markets. That's why it's very important to be prepared. So just hypothetically, the main factor for tomorrow, though, is going to be our jobs numbers. If we get bad jobs numbers, and if Tesla loses 238 as a result, we could be looking for Tesla to dip back down towards this imbalance at 234. And if that fails us, this 235 to 234 area, if that fails us, we have a gap to fill all the way down to 220. Basically, the 229 area of close to our 200 EMA is coming next. So you want to be careful with Tesla, guys. There's a risk of downside if we get bad data. If we get great data and the market bounces, we could be looking for Tesla to attempt to get back up to about 247.5. We'll see if that ends up being the case. For now, we look a little bit more bearish. So be very patient, be very mindful of the data that's coming out if you're holding anything overnight. For SPY, if we're bearish, you want to see this thing basically lose 565. If that fails us, we're looking for a rug pull all the way down to about the 562 area. If 562 fails us, I think we dip all the way down to 557. So you want to be very careful at these supports. So we're going to be dipping at least 4 to 6 points if we get bad numbers. If we get good numbers, we could be looking for a push all the way back up towards 570, which if we break, we could get very close to the imbalance fill in the 572 to 573 area. So do we pump at least 5 points back up into the 570s, or do we dump at least 5 points back down? We'll have to just wait and see, so be very patient nonetheless. For ES, we're basically looking a little bit more bearish as we're dropping. We have this support to watch for at the 5,700 area. If that fails us, we're going to be dumping all the way down towards 5,700. If we're bullish, we could be looking for 5,760. So I'll be watching to see which way we end up going. There's a double top leg structure, but there is a risk of downside. So just be careful with ES. We could dip lower, guys. So please be mindful of that. For Nvda, Nvidia is also at risk of dipping if we get a rejection off 122. We're looking for basically 120. If we break this, we're looking for 125. There's still a risk of rejection, so we'll see if we end up dipping back down to 118 or if we continue to push for 126. It could go either way depending on the unemployment numbers. Bitcoin, could we be dumping below 60,000 to start coming down to like 59,000? Or are we about to see a big bounce back up to 62,000? It could go either way. The 4 hour is showing some signs it wants to bounce, so we'll see what the unemployment numbers give us. For NQ, it looks a little bit more bearish right now. I think 19,800 looks like a stronger possibility. Maybe during the after hours we do reach that, so it looks kind of bearish. But we'll see if the unemployment numbers help this bounce back up to 20,000, or if we continue to collapse back down to 19,700 and eventually come down to fill this gap. The QQQ is the same. Are we about to get a rejection off 483 and start dipping back down to fill this gap at 475? Or are we about to see a big bounce? It could dip lower, so be mindful of that. There is a risk of downside, so keep that in mind. For Aapl, Apple's looking a little bit more bearish. If we don't hold above 224, we're looking for that gap fill for 222. That's also aligning with our 200 EMA. If we're bullish, want to break past 226, but this still looks more bearish. For a couple more factors, we have the IWM looking a little bit more bearish. If we lose 215, we're looking for a dump back down towards 212. If this holds, we could try to break past 218. I do see a risk of downside, so be very, very mindful of that. For Coinbase, we look a little bit more bearish. We could be tipping back down to 162. If that fails us, we're looking for basically 158. If we're bullish, want to break past 168, we'll see which way we go, but there is still momentum that's building. For Amazon, we look a little bit more bearish. We could be dipping back down towards 180. If that fails us, we're looking for a dump back down towards 178. If we're bullish and we break past 182, we're looking for a push back up to this gap fill for 185, but this still looks more bearish looking at the trend. Could go either way, so we'll just have to wait and see. One thing that's outperforming the market is Meta. We're holding very, very nicely above our 20 EMA, so this could push for 585. Will we get a rug pull tomorrow? Will we continue to pump? It depends on the unemployment numbers. I'll be watching either 572 as our bearish target or even 585 plus as our bullish target. For Microsoft, we could dump down to about 414. If that fails us, we're looking for 409. If we break past this and we hold above 420, we could bounce. It still looks a little bit more bearish. Google looks in the middle. If we lose 166, we're looking for a dump, but we'll see which way we go. So with that being said, guys, that's it for all the levels. Tesla looks a little bit more bearish, but whether or not we get a big bounce tomorrow morning or a dump depends on geopolitical news. And also, I think the biggest factor is going to be the unemployment numbers. So wait and see what this ends up leading to. Be very patient, and we'll see how things end up going. Once again, guys, the final warning is if you are holding anything overnight, be careful. Please know the market is going to have this data coming out before it ends up opening. So be careful and do what you have to do. I thank you for listening. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours for another update, and peace out.